Good evening everybody out there, and welcome to the season finale of the New Dimension Racing TBO Challenge 2020, round 6 from Fern Bay Green. I'm Peter Butcher and you're listening to simbroadcasts.tv. Joining me this evening for the final time in the main championship is Eoin Harmon. Good evening, Eoin. Yeah, both champions will be crowned. The drivers and teams champion will be crowned this week. It's been a 6-race championship and we're at the last round at Fern Bay Green. And next week, in 2 weeks' time, Aston North Eoin for the 6-hour post-season endurance race. That's going to be a fun one. Sign-ups are now open on the Live for Speed forum for the TBO Challenge post-season endurance. 6 hours of Aston North on Sunday the 20th of December from 2:30 in the UTC. That's going to be a fun one, so you can sign up with anybody you want for that, and yeah, priority to teams for that event, but you can do a solo entry if you fancy for all 6 hours of that race. We're really looking forward to that here. So what have we got on offer tonight? Well, we have the infamous FE2 with an adapted first chicane. We're using the NDR IGTC chicane addition to this track at turn 1 to slow some cars down and make it less kind of sketchy through that corner, Eoin. So less likely to see any opening lap incidents. Qualifying will kick off in about 3 minutes time. Then we'll have a 17-lap sprint race followed by a 26-lap feature race. Your race director this evening, Jonathan Provost, and of course we're running low wind, and it's looking interesting in the championship. Before we head to the championship, though, we'll talk you through the classes. We've got the same classes we've been running, bar the restrictions we were running at Rockingham, the XRT with 2% air intake restriction, the FXO with 6, and the RB4 with nothing. So just to keep you up to date, we have no changes to the class structure today from last round. In the Drivers' Championship, you can see that Pauli Peltokangas has quite a commanding lead, 304 points over Eoin and Sean, who are tied with 1,748 points. Both of those here today, they could both challenge Pauli. It's looking unlikely. Pauli has such a huge lead, but anything can happen, as we know. Nico there, he could shake things up. He's only 22 points behind Eoin and Sean, and Carolis is still able to lift the Drivers' Championship trophy. And yeah, those 5 drivers there, the only 5 drivers that can do that. The rest, unfortunately, out of the running in the Drivers' Championship. Sandro Chanturia P6 after a great season, not quite there in the end, but yeah, a good effort to be best of the rest. Then it's Daniel Balla, Oscar Hardwick, Gabor, Michael Malik, Ayabel Hanouni, and Isaac Price round out the top 12. There you can see the rest of the runners in the top 24 in the Drivers' Championship. Over in the team standings, we have Sidus out front by 473 points. World Class Lions, the only other team still able to lift the trophy, but it's such a huge gap that it's looking likely that Sidus will take that today, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. Still 2 teams in the running. Then Air Attack Newsman Racing best of the rest in P3, Race Green in P4, Subaru Technica International P5, Born to Race P6, LLM P7, Chad Esports P8, Ford Rally Sport P9, Magenta WRT P10, Falcons P11, Angry Angus Racing in P12. MRC P13, Energy Virtual Racing P14, Heroes of Racing P15, Viaduct Check in P16. Then it's TRR, SM Racing, Piran Moto and Conquest Racing rounding out the top 20. Global Gaming, Gum Garage, Nayuka Factory and LCS Racing rounding out the top 24. Because qualifying is about to begin, we will run you down the full order of both championships between the sprint and feature race, so we'll get that done in a bit. But yeah, Eoin, we've got cars out on the track for the start of the qualifying session. Let's get this show on the road for the final time in the main championship of the NDR TBO Challenge 2020. So who have we got out on the track just now? Looks like a packed grid once again. Great stuff. We'll see as the times start to pour in, and you can see the way these cars are lurching over the final chicane. Obviously, we haven't got the first chicane in its normal regular form, so yeah, we should see some some differing strategies through turn number 1, the first chicane. So yeah, Eoin, a very technical track this, and the first chicane definitely going to throw some spanners in the works, especially if people haven't tried it much. It's different to the chicane they're used to. It's obviously a lot safer. So
maybe forced down to about 8 miles an hour. You'll be wanting to do one at a time as well. You can't really force your way down the inside and hope to be safe from the tires on the edge of the grass, or the turn 5 uphill left could definitely throw a lot of drivers off. It'll ruin their second sector if they hit the curbs too hard, followed by that tricky sweeper. You can't afford to hit that outside curb, or you'll be thrown onto 2 wheels, I think. And then the barriers will form a threat at the very last corner. That is turn number 14, another difficult left turn. You have to stay as close to the edge as you can, but don't hit the grass, or else the wall will be ready to greet you.
Michael Mallet comes across the line, goes P3 in his XRT. Eoin, do you want to remind the audience of the format of qualifying, actually, and why some drivers will be seen less frequently than others on the track?
Certainly. We run a 2-shot qualifying system in TBO Challenge, where you can leave the pit lane twice, but either you do your 2 laps back to back, or you do a hot lap, or an out lap, a hot lap, an in lap, pit, and then one more time you get to leave the pits, do another out lap and hot lap, and that'll be your grid formation system.
Yeah, and currently it looks like Jeremiah Sinella for Ford Rally Sports done a great lap, 120.3. Nika Bantola there in the best RB4 time, currently a 120.5. Last time he did some... he didn't do a great first attempt in quali, and then sorted it all out on his second attempt. As we see, Canobra there had to abort that lap immediately. That was his second attempt as well, I think. Or did he just set that lap? No, I think that was his second attempt. So Canobra there, that'll be the end of his quali, as he gets it all wrong into the braking zone at the first chicane.
I think Carlos Madrizas made a similar mistake at the first chicane. It's going to be such a merciless object to overcome. You've only got 2 chances to beat it in the format of qualifying, as we mentioned. So if there is an accident, you'll have to get off the track as soon as you can, whether it be spectate or another system. So you'd want to make sure you've got plenty of space if you're going for your ultimate hot lap.
Yeah, we saw Magic there. The number 26 XRT went P3, some way off the top times actually, nearly a second, over a second off pole in fact. As we are now watching Renault Coots, who is beginning his first timed lap. See what he can manage. Did very well last time out at Kyoto North.
Yeah, with the back-to-back victories and no ballast to worry about since he's only 24th in the championship for his sole weekend in participation. He won't have to worry too much about stresses and strains, unlike his teammate Sean Lee. So I'd say he'll be wanting to help as best he can.
Let's see how Renault Coots does as he comes around the final corner. Someone helpfully clears all the tyres for him, and he comes out onto the home straight, runs a bit wide, gets some gravel on the tyres. It won't matter because he's finishing the lap. Let's see what he manages, and it's good enough for P3 right now. As Kaike Piroppo sets the initial pace, 119.9. That's a good lap from Kaike. Renault's going for another lap, it looks. He'll do a few corners, work out whether that lap's going to be any good, and if it is, he'll carry on. If not, he'll abort to the pits. But P3 so far for last time out. The protagonist from last time out.
Indeed, I think how Paolo is about to cross the line for Ford Rally Sport, and he's going to set his next time. I made a mistake there. Whoops.
It's okay. He's just obliterated the tyres at the first part of the chicane. As Presmek Vodoviarts goes on to provisional pole with a 119.86 in his FXO. Good lap that by the Conquest Racing driver. Daniel Bauer.
Carlos Magistas goes wide at the last corner. That's exactly what I feared could happen. And thankfully, it's actually 8th place for him on the grid. So
yeah, he'll have another attempt as well.
Starting there at the very best, but it could be a lot of drivers yet to come.
He may have another attempt. Yeah, I wanted to say that Daniel Balla again. Oh no, sorry, Daniel Balla is in P6 right now, and David Balla P18. Yeah, not a great lap that from David. Daniel somewhat better this week. Didn't have a great quali session last week, if I recall correctly. So Kaike Piroppo and Vodoviarts are the only two drivers inside the 19s right now. We're still waiting for Yoni Katila and championship leader Pauli Peltikangas, and I believe Sean Lee as well. We haven't seen a time from him as Von Shazer hits the wall hard, the wall of champions here at the final corner. He's got Jared Mead behind him, I think, as he comes across the line to finish that lap. Oh, and he's really hampered the Angry Angus racing car there. Thankfully gets out of the way, hopefully not too late. We're watching Ayoub El Hanouni for Born to Race. He's on a lap and coming through the middle sector now onto the back straight. He's on an out lap, so he's doing some tyre warming down to the final part of the lap. 19 cars have set a lap time. We expect to see another 10 or so on that board. But yeah, we're coming up to halfway through the session, Owen, and some drivers have not set their first lap time yet, so we're going to want to get out on track. This isn't the longest track in the world, it's only 80 seconds long. So here comes Ayoub. Let's watch Ayoub as he attempts a lap in the XRT around Fern Bay Green with the IGTC chicane edition. Looked like a nice first chicane for Ayoub.
Yoni Katila crosses the Sector 1 line with a 25.7. As I pay attention to his lap, it's massive for his championship bid to get early onto pole position or as close to it.
Yeah, Renault's on another lap as well. Ayoub aborted that run. I'm quite surprised. He hasn't got a lap on the board, so
he's got to start again.
Yeah, he'll have to start again. I mean, he's only allowed to leave the pits only once, so he didn't feel like finishing that lap, which is a bit strange. So we watch Yoni Katila as he heads onto the bridge for his attempt. Full commitment through the chicane there. A little bit of a lift on the exit. Mounts the curbs well. Perfect exit over the line. Let's see what he does. P2.
Oh, he's just shy.
Yeah.
Parappo is on pole.
Yeah, Parappo's lap's looking pretty strong, isn't it, right now? Eoin was a 10th off. As we've got Gabor on track now. He's currently P10 with his first attempt. He's on his second attempt now. Some 1.3 seconds off pole right now for Gabor. Quite surprising from the FXO. Shows you what a good lap that lap by Kaike was. It's really impressive. That's Ayoub warming up for another lap. Gabor just navigating him. Onto the bridge comes Gabor. Let's see. Hopefully someone's moved the tyres, letting Gabor cut a bit more of that corner. Runs a wheel onto the gravel. That won't matter. He's run out of fuel, so this is it. Just makes it across the line, and he does improve to P4 for the Sidus driver.
And it's time to get out of the way as Ayoub is starting his full lap. He went very, very wide at the last corner in the background, you may have noticed. So we want to see the Born to Race car push as hard as he can.
Helinka went up to P3 in his RB4, and it looks like he's going for a second attempt straight away. He's 0.2 off pole. That's a really good effort in the RB4. Look at those times at the top, really close. And Eoin's running a hefty amount of ballast in that car. So Patrick Helinka looking strong in the RB4. 4 drivers below the 1:20 mark. Kaike Parappo currently on provisional pole with 7:50 remaining in the session. Then it's Eoin Katila, Patrick Helinka, who you're watching, and President Radoviarts for Conquest Racing. Though apparently, according to chat and Stuart Baker, Parappo's lap was set on his 3rd lap, so it'll be deleted.
Yeah, that's a bit of miscalculation there, unfortunately. But as we return to Helinka's time, a 3rd place on the grid is as good a pole as you could ask for in an RB4 with its 4-wheel drive.
Well, it'll be P2 if he keeps it. He's hit the wall
exactly,
hard.
Yeah, beyond the front
row.
row.
And he's aborted. That's a shame.
He did give it up,
yeah,
unfortunately.
I mean, he can do another run because he didn't cross the line. That's the advantage of trying 2 laps on the bounce, because he didn't cross the timing line twice. He still has time to leave the pit lane again, as we see Eoin Katila warming up. Eoin Katila then is on provisional pole if you ignore Kaike's time, which was set on his 3rd lap. Kaike's best time, according to Stuart, was a 1:19.98, which puts him P4, but I'm not sure. I'm assuming he'll get a penalty for setting 3 times. So we'll see what the
That's a drop of 1 position on the grid.
So it could be P5 potentially. Still a decent starting position for Kaike, but a shame that he set 3 laps. Here comes Eoin then. This will be his final attempt of the session and of the season. Ooh, he hits the tyres. That's not ideal. Keeps it together on the exit, and he's aborted. He's aborted that run, so Eoin won't improve, but it might be enough to take pole position. We'll have to see what other people manage. Pauli Peltikangas currently P4 on the board. Only, 1300ths actually behind Eoin, but Pauli running the full 25 kilograms of ballast, I believe.
Yeah, top of the table, gets 25 kilos.
We're watching world-class lines. Bozidar Velinov, he's in P13 at the moment with a 1:20.8. Nika Pantola is the second RB4. Patrick's time is so far ahead of Nico. I know Nico's got. I think Nico's got some ballast. We'll double check after the session. But Helinka, that's really a strong time. So we've got 26 times on the board. I don't see any times from Sean Lee, so yet again he's leaving it till the last minute. He's probably going to go for it on two laps on the bounce. I guess he has to at this point.
Yeah, I did see him on track, but he must have given it up. So he has to hurry up now.
Velenov comes across the line and he goes P14, so yeah, no improvement on that lap time for him.
Teemu Soini, he improved his time for World Class Lions up to 17th position, which will possibly be overtaken later on in the session, but time's running out.
Steve Martin coming around the final corner. Let's see what he manages. He doesn't have a time on the board yet. And with 4 minutes to go, he pops up into P21, just outside the top 20. Cathal Crawkin just ahead of him.
Probably his hot lap starting now.
Yeah, Paddy
For point of
Paltakangas
race.
is on track. He's just let Nico Pantola past on the back straight. So yeah, Pauli has 1 lap to go. He's currently P4 as he does some Yoni Katila styled tyre warming. I say Yoni Katila style, it wasn't Yoni that invented it, but Yoni was using that side-to-side motion far more exuberantly than anybody else in the first couple of rounds. Pauli may have to yield to the Air Attack newsroom car behind. No, that car has slowed down to let Pauli do his run. So let's see how this goes. Big curb action there from Pauli as he comes across start-finish.
There's relief in the Subaru Technica garage as Nico Pantola rises up to P6 on the grid.
Pauli clipped the first set of tyres, crucially avoiding the second set. The second set can really throw you off, but yeah, it's a decent first chicane for Pauli. Nice apex into turn 2. A little bit of grass on the front right tyre through the second part of that little chicane. That really does unsettle the car, but he's run it out wide just enough to not go on the grass on the exit. And onto the Ocean Straight now. Past the famous Jamaica wall, heavy on the brakes for this little kink to the right onto the back straight. Again, perfectly judged there. Small hop over that curb, perfectly flat. 2 corners and a chicane to go for Pauli, and let's see if he can improve on his time. He's only barely any time between him and Yoni. The time on the board, Kaike Proper's time, will be invalidated. Remember, that's
Massive cut.
huge cut, but yeah, luckily keeps it out of the wall on the exit. Thought the car looked really unsettled there. And it's P1 for Pauli Paltakangas. Championship leader, does it in style. That's a great second attempt. We'll have to see what Sean can manage, obviously. Is Sean even on a lap? I haven't seen him.
Set one on to 13th position, so he has his last chance.
Okay, yeah, so he's on his last attempt now. Yeah, I was looking higher up on the board, potentially, than I should have been, because, yeah, he won't be happy with that. Let's see what he can manage on this second attempt. This is it for him. He won't have another try. He likes leaving it late. He started the way he meant to go on, of course. We're on the last round. And Sean, as usual, leaving it till the last moment to set his times. Onto the back straight now. No grass, no cutting. Super lap that from Pauli. 25 kilograms of ballast on board and still goes faster than anyone. Sean Lee, final couple of corners, final chicane for him coming up now. Let's watch on board. It's very tricky. Very smooth. He's going to run wide though. Yeah. Only 2 wheels on the grass. That wasn't too bad. Let's see what his time is as he comes across the line. It's a small improvement, but yeah, P8 for Sean Lee. As the timer ticks to 0. He won't have another attempt, of course. Even though he made it across start-finish. That was his 2 attempts done.
He's beaten his teammate Renault. That'll certainly give him a bit of confidence, but they need to work together to pushed away up the grid. Otherwise, their championship bid will be wrapped up sharpish.
Yeah, so I think I can confirm now that Nico Pantola will, even with Kaike's next best lap time, Nico will start in P5 because Kaike will drop down to just ahead of Nico, get a one-place penalty, which will drop him behind Nico. So Nico will start P5, Paroppo P6. Pali will be on pole, Ioni will be alongside him. So yeah, we'll see what happens after that. I believe everyone has set their final time, Owen. I don't believe anyone else is ahead of Sean on track. So I think that's
correct,
it.
Pete. Yeah.
We have all of our times. So for the final time of the main championship, Pauli Peltokangas will be on pole position for the sprint race, followed by Ioni Katila, Patrick Linker, Predrag Vidoviarts, Nico Pantola. Then it should be Kaike Paroppo. We're just waiting for confirmation on that. Then it'll be Gabor, Sean Lee, Ayub. Jeremiah Sinella will round out the top 10, and Renault Coots will start just outside in P11. Yari Katila for World Class Lines will be in P12. Then it'll be Sandro Chanturia in P13, Daniel Balla in P14, Bozidar Velinov for World Class Lines in P15. Then we will have Jared Mead for Angry Angus in P16, Karolis Motodutis P17, Timu Soini in P18, Cathal Crawkin in P19, Jürgen Weber rounds out the top 20, Magic P21, Steve Martin P22, Fabio Fonchesa in P23, Michael Malik P24, Sigitas Sakis P25, Conobra in P26, David Balla P27, Reg LeBlanc in P28, and João Paulo rounding out the 29 qualifiers for round 6 of the NDR TBO Challenge 2020. And just a reminder of the ballast that we have in action today. We can look over to the Drivers' Championship. And yes, Pauli Peltokangas is running the full contingent, 25 kilograms of ballast on his car. Ioni Katila, 20 kilograms, Sean Lee, 15, Nico Pantola, 10, and Karolis is running 5. So yeah, Sean Lee with that 15 kilograms, slightly hampered. Pauli not even phased really by the 25 kilograms on his car. So it just shows you the effort and the really strong effort by him on that lap. So Owen, we have a few minutes before we head to the sprint race. So I think it's about time that we brought everyone up to speed with the full driver and team standings in the series. Leading the way with 2,052 points, it's Pauli Peltokangas, followed by Ioni Katila. Ioni Katila and Sean Lee are tied for second place, I guess, and just behind them is Nico Pantola, who could jump them if he gets a strong result today. Of course, Ioni qualifying very well, looks strong against Sean Lee, but what can Nico do? Can Nico threaten Ioni Katila's P2 in the championship? Pauli, if he can convert his pole position to a win, is looking certain to lift the championship trophy. We'll keep you up to date on that throughout the event. Karolis Motodutis is in P5, the only driver besides the top 4 who can lift the Drivers' Championship today. Sandro Chanturia just outside that in P6. Daniel Balla P7. Oscar Hardwick P8. He doesn't appear to be here today, so Oscar likely to drop down the order further after today's action. Gabor P9 looking to make up some places. Michael Malik P10. Ayub P11. Isaac in P12. Jared Mead P13. Bozidar Velinov P14. Yari Katila P15. Then it's Jürgen Weber, Magic, Patrick, Jeff and Jacob, and Jeremiah Sinella rounding out the top 20. Timu Soili, followed by Andre Araujo, Radek Lutsky, and Renault Coots round out the top 24. Then we have Adam Brown, Sigitas Sakis, Felipe Fonseca, Svilen Naidenov, Katal Crawkin, and Sebastian Gagetti rounding out the top 30. David Godge, Rick Cardle, Steve Martin, Kaike Paroppo, Jamie Tressida, Predrag Vidoviarts, David Balla, Simas Takviskius, Vitalis Lagutskas, and Lucas Wilson rounding out the top 40. Pavel Sina, João Paulo, Michal Velikov, Reg LeBlanc, Pavel Lutsky, Ona Abar, Pedro Picanco, and Sam Wilton rounding out the top 24. And then Boyan Serafimov, Jonathan Harp, Strix9, Cristobal Gonzalez and Cristianos Lunis round out the 53 drivers who we've seen throughout this season. I believe there are a couple of names that are new today, which is great, so they will be added to the final standings. But yeah, 53 drivers so far have competed, so that's excellent. A great turnout throughout the season. So thanks to all the drivers for making this a great season so far. Hopefully we have a great couple of races coming up just in a few moments' time. Over in the Teams Championship, Sidus leading the way ahead of World Class Lions by 473 points. Sidus look pretty strong. We'll see if Eoin and Bozadar can mount any sort of attack on Team Sidus. Air Attack Newsroom Racing are in P3, Race Green Autosports P4. Then it's Subaru Technica International. I believe it's only Nika Bentola who is driving for that team today. So again, they could be under threat from Born to Race, who have multiple drivers in the Teams Championship. LLM P7, Chad Esports P8, Ford Rally Sport P9, Magenta WRT P10, Falcons P11, Angry Angus Racing P12. Then it's MRC, Energy Virtual Racing, Heroes of Racing, Viaduct Czech Racing, Teamwork Racing, SM Racing, Piran Moto, Conquest Racing, Global Gaming Racing, Gum Garage, Niuka Factory and LCS Racing rounding out the top 24. And then we've got RP Racing, Doug Henson Racing, Total Discord Racing, Oki SGG and Nyuku Racing rounding out the top 23 teams who entered the series. So yeah, a great showing from everybody in the Teams Championship. Back to tonight's action. We have the final round of the NDR TBO Challenge, but it's not the final round of the series, Eoin, because in 2 weeks' time we have the post-season 6-hour endurance race live on Sim Broadcasts from 2:30 UTC, and that'll be at Aston North. And sign-ups are now open for this race on the Live for Speed forum, so get together with your mates and enter this because it should be brilliant. You can enter as a team or as a solo entry. It's open to not only the drivers from the championship, but also all of you guys who are maybe watching for the first time. And yeah, if you fancy getting a team together or doing this race solo, it's up to you. But we'd love to see you there on Sunday, the 20th of December from 2:30 here live on Sim Broadcasts. Coming up next weekend, it's a double header. It's the MRC double header weekend. First of all, we will have the MRC E-Challenge on Saturday the 12th of December. Sign-ups still open on the Live for Speed forum. That's going to be awesome. Here's the trailer. So yes, the Master Race Car E-Challenge next Saturday the 12th of December, and you can still sign up for that on the LFS forum. On Sunday next weekend, we have the return of Master Race Cars BF1 League, Round 2 from Kyoto Ring GP Long, and that'll be kicking off here from 15 minutes past 2. And it's going to be a good one. Round 1 was absolutely excellent, and we hope to see another healthy grid for round 2 at the very fast and very technical Kyoto Ring GP Long. It featured a few weeks ago in the K32 combination during the TRR Championship, so hopefully quite a lot of the drivers will be familiar with that car around Kyoto going into that race. So we look forward to that. 2 races from MRC next weekend live on Sim Broadcasts. We hope you can join us for that. So only a couple of minutes left to go, Eoin, before the start of today's action here. What can everyone look forward to in the rundown to turn 1 in this famous IGTC alternate chicane?
Look forward to is a bit optimistic. I think everyone's going to be rather terrified about what could happen. If someone makes a mistake, there's going to be a domino effect. Someone else will be affected, someone else after that. So the fans can certainly be excited, but if I was at the middle of the grid, I would be watching every inch of where I'm putting my car. Otherwise, something awful could happen.
Something awful indeed as we turn our attention to the track for the beginning of the race. Pauli Peltokangas is indeed lining up on the pole position. Alongside him is Joni Katila, and this isn't the real start, this is just the formation as all the drivers pull away for the start of the formation lap. "29 cars pouring away as we have the familiar sight of two FXOs doing a slalom at the front. Pauli Peltokangas for Sidist and World Class Lions for... Joni Katila for World Class Lions. That's how they stand in the Drivers' Championship. It's also how they stand in the Teams' Championship. And if it stays that way, Sidist are going ahead first for the win in the Teams. And Pauli is going head first towards the win in the Drivers' Championship. Pretty short run, this.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. The RB4 factor, as I've been calling it, it'll be certainly neutralised because of how little chance you're going to get with that short run down. But you'd still fancy Patrick Linke to be very, very close to those leaders, maybe even through.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's a short run, like you said, but I don't know. I think Patrick might have a sniff into turn one. It depends how good his reaction is at the lights. Yeah, I think it's the story of the start. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. He's on the good side of the grid as well, so if he doesn't manage to get past Pauli, I reckon he stands a pretty good chance of getting past Joni. Joni will be on the outside for the first part of the chicane. Patrick will be on the left side of the grid, which is favoured, as all the cars now begin to take up their grid spots. Pauli slots in, Joni slots in, Patrick slots in. That's the top three. All the other cars filing in behind. And Andre Araujo will be starting from the end of the pit lane. And on our timing screens, we can see that Kaike Propo, in fact, is qualifying ahead of, starting ahead of Nika Bentola. So the final couple of cars rolling into position.
Big problems for Canobra at the very back of the grid, number 71. There's something terribly wrong with that car, and I think he's given up the ghost. That's a real shame. There won't be any debut for Canobra.
Here come the lights, Eoin.
Best of luck to the drivers.
Oh, that's a jump start for one of the World Class Lions cars there. The red lights come on. And we're green.
That's Linke away already. Nico Patola as well on the outside. Pauli is defending the centre of the track. That's Propa down his inside. Oh, he's through.
There's a car sideways into the...
Sean Lee.
Yeah.
Sean Lee into the tyres. Oh,
that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
That has to be a aborted start.
That's a shame. I mean, it's what happens when you end up getting so overzealous into the first chicane. Even with this adjusted chicane, it adds a separate set of problems. But yeah, this is a incredible start because Patrick Linke and Nika Bentola managed to not only get ahead, but well, they managed to get so far ahead. I was really surprised by that, actually, considering how short a run it is, as we mentioned before. But yeah, that will be an aborted start. We'll have to reset the grid. Yeah, that's unbelievable. So yeah, we'll have to take a quick break here and return to... Well, we'll hope to get this action back up and running as soon as we can. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes' time. Welcome back to the 6th round of the New Dimension Racing TBO Challenge 2020. We are having a full restart here then for the start of the sprint race, and the cars are just about to pull away from the grid. So let's try this again.
The RB4 drivers, they'll be gutted. Their chance to lead in the first lap has been taken away. The pressure to do it all over again, that could certainly weigh on their minds. But Sean Lee will be the most relieved at the red flag being waved. He'll get another chance to avoid those tires and push on for more precious points.
So plenty more tyre warming on order for Pauli Peltokangas and Eoin Katila. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us for the delayed start here in the sprint race. We're hoping to get this over and done with before the majority of the action kicks off in the F1. We can't afford any more aborted starts, so thanks for joining us. But yeah, hopefully we get away cleanly this time, Owen, so that we don't have to have any more aborted starts. We want all the drivers cleanly away.
Yeah, here, Pete.
The driver, the race director, Jonathan Provost, just reminding the drivers there that they shouldn't go multiple cars wide through the first chicane on the opening lap, please. So let's see how many of those drivers actually heed those words. It's very difficult, obviously, with the speeds at which the cars start. The FXO is a bit hampered. The RB4 clearly strong, as we saw. So Pauli Peltokangas lining up on the front row alongside Eoin Katila once again. Then in the background it's Patrick Kalinka and Presvek Radoviarts, Kaike Paroppo, Nika Pantola, Gabor Gier, Sean Lee, Abel Hanouni and Jeremiah Sinella with a strong result in qualifying. That rounds out the top 10. And look at the angle that Patrick Kalinka's put his car at there, Owen.
Well spotted, yeah. It's clear as day. Tactical move. He loves going in between the gap that's open.
Nico's done the same.
Yes, they clearly have the tactic in mind. Jump into the gap and make a break for it. And it's go. Green flag's out. And we're away. Great start again from Patrick Linka down the middle. And Nico Patola, deja vu on the outside. Pauli defends from Paroppo. I think Eoin Katila needs to stay away from that battle. But through, okay. The AirTac newsroom cars are all right. Bit of a slide for Daniel Balla. I think is safe. Looking at the very back now. Everyone is through. Thank goodness for that. Everyone is through. Patrick Linka now. It's turn 5. Uphill left. The Subaru just behind. And Paroppo has gained on the championship leader as well. So that's a huge move for his own benefit. But for Pauli Peltokangas, he won't mind. He just needs to stay ahead of Eoin Katila to win the title, or Sean Lee, or both.
Renault Coots with a good start as well. He's right behind his teammate already. Yeah, I mean, both of these XRTs have had an excellent start. Pauli and Eoin lucky to still be ahead of those two because of the amount of cars. You know, they've each lost 3 places. Let's see. Renault Coots moves ahead of Sean Lee into the braking zone. That could have been a team move. We've got cars off in the background.
Gabor Gior for Sidus has spun, and that's caused another domino effect here. Jeremiah Sinella in trouble. They're going to be able to carry on.
I think it was Zanella who was off in the wall with one of the... I think it was a race green car. Was it Daniel Balla or something? I think Daniel Balla's car's damaged. Yeah, it could have been Magic or Daniel Balla. And Daniel Balla into the wall again.
Steve Martin on his inside. Gets away cleanly.
Well...
contact with Reg LeBlanc and Jeremiah Sinella. They're still banging doors, banging A-pillars, heading into the first chicane. What an incredible first lap here at Fern Bay Green.
Yeah, Zanella's front right is knackered, and so is his rear left. It's tracking, so let's see. Oh, he's going for a send into this corner. It's a terrible start. I mean, he was really good qualifying, and then absolute... Yeah, wow.
And we're keeping an eye on the front of the grid as well. Renault Koots versus Yanni Catella is on, as Sean Lee must have decided to let his wingman take up the heavy lifting. And now we're into the third sector on lap 2. That's going to be close as you can get with the braking. It's unbelievably tight there for Yanni Catella in between his two title rivals. Any false move could cost him dearly. And now past the bridge into the final chicane. Step 1, 2, and 3 looking fairly clean. But the RB4s of Link and Pantola are away.
Yeah, the laps are coming thick and fast here. The two RB4s really are clearing off. Sandro Chanturia has himself a battle. He's right up the back of Carolus Motojusis, the last lap motorsport driver.
And Motojusis is still in the championship hunt, but
Yep.
it's a long shot.
Ooh.
And what happened was Jared Mead made some contact with Chanturia, and that allowed Motojusis to make his way through. And he's battling Jari Catella on the outside at the turn 4 complex, heading up to turn 5. That is absolutely insane as Carolus hugs the outside line, but he's going to be in trouble with this chicane. He doesn't want to verge, and thankfully he's allowed the space. And Jared Mead, just the Angry Angus, he will want to get a bit of payback for what happened, but he'll have to wait another lap, I'd say. We're now going to go in single file.
Kaike Paroppo is closing the gap to Nico Pantola. Nico's dropped off a little bit from the back of Halinka, not by much, but look at Pauli. He's going to have to be so focused to keep ahead of this train. Yoni's running slightly less ballast as a tyre gets thrown in front of Pauli. That won't help him. One of the cars ahead obviously dislodging a tyre. Renault Koots runs wide. Yoni won't mind seeing that in his mirrors. Sean can't hang about too long either because President Vidoviart's in that FXO is looking fast as Kaike Paroppo sets the fastest lap on lap number 3.
Lee is right on the bumper of his teammate as the camera follows right in the nick of time, but I don't think he wants to challenge or overtake just yet. There must be some newsroom planning there between editor and his sub-editor.
Jürgen Weber goes for a big lunge into the chicane. That's a move on Sigitas Sakis. Sigitas now under pressure from both David Balla and Reg LeBlanc. Reg backing out a little bit on that move. Yeah, they follow each other line astern through into the beach complex. But yeah, good move for Jürgen there, up to P25. Peltikangas and Yoni Catilla. Yoni's thinking about a move. He's not gone for it. He's just showing that he's there. It's actually forced Pauli a bit deep into the corner before the bridge.
Yeah, the tactics will all be out in force today. It makes such a big difference to a driver's mentality when they know the title will be decided at the end of the day. They can't drive like they usually do.
Yoni,
yeah.
Sean into the wall as well.
Yes, please be careful.
Yeah, Sean's going to be under threat
Sean
now.
In the wall, or Sean. Yeah, sorry, Pete.
It's okay. Yeah, that move's done. It's happening too quickly.
That's Vidoviars. Vidoviars has made his way through.
Yeah, the Conquest Racing car there making full use of Sean Lee into the Wall of Champions.
Jeremiah Sinella went briefly onto two wheels at the last corner as his car almost looked like a Reliant Robin from a particular angle. So strange, but I was watching the battle ahead. Steve Martin, Cahill Corkin and Fonseca as well. But thankfully the Ford Rally Sport car held on with the grip it still has. But he's definitely lurching to the right. It's an absolute nightmare to be in that car right now. And there is a Soini was in the background, I think.
Yeah, he just got the chicane all wrong, I think.
Number 31, yeah.
Off, losing a bunch of places. We've lost a car. Not sure who that was. Yoni Catilla with the fastest lap now.
Kalinka's lead is down to about half a second from Nico Pantola, but I don't see any move approaching just yet. It may have to be turns 4 and 5 where there is an opportunity.
I have to say, Nico's looking much stronger through the final chicane as he gets it a bit wobbly on the exit. That's going to cost him time. His entry, his approach through the final chicane is really nice, but that exit just cost him there. Motojutis and Sandro Chanturia are still going at it. Sandro still hasn't found a way around him. Quite sideways out of the final corner, but there might be a move on here. Let's see. Can Sandro go for it? I mean, he
Well, his
can,
number
but will
plate
he?
gives a stern warning. It says dive bomb, but he's not going to live up to his
Clatters
literal
the
warning
tyres.
just yet. Yari Cotillo will have to watch his mirrors. He's got a championship contender behind, but he's got his own battles to worry about.
Yeah, Vidoviarts has set the fastest lap, so the fastest lap is moving its way down the field, mainly because there's more space further down the field. There's not much space up ahead. Ioni's looking racy. Is he going to go for a move this lap? Thinks about it again, but he's quite happy to follow. Renault Coots get really close on the brakes. Almost wants Ioni to open his trunk. Yeah, Renault's looking like he wants that place desperately. This is really the cat amongst the pigeons now, because that is the lead battle for the championship. Renault's not involved in that, but he wants the win in the race. He won't care. If he can make that move, he'll make that move.
Remember, the team's championship is on up for grabs as well. Geborg, you're in 18th. He really needs to help out his teammate with all those world-class Lions battling for the number 1 position. In between Fonseca and Steve Martin. Oh, as I say, Fonseca goes into the wall. He clipped the curb. And Geborg decides to pit. He decides to pit, and that's going to cause Pauli another headache. With the team's championship, they want that so badly, the sweep. So Geborg pits, Fonseca hits the wall, all kinds of drama up and down the field.
Renault Coots is squeezing Ioni onto the inside. It's not gonna. He's trying to unsettle Ioni's rhythm here. There's the gaps already opened up between Ioni and Pauli. Ioni will not be enjoying this. And there's contact as Ioni defends the inside. Perfectly entitled to do that, but yeah, if Renault wants to get past, he's going to have to try harder than that, because Ioni knows how to defend. He'll make that FXO as wide as he possibly can. But yeah, Ioni really won't be enjoying defending from Renault Coots when he needs to try and get ahead of Pauli in both of these races if he stands any chance of winning the TBO Challenge Drivers' Championship.
Parappo had a wheelie moment. He put both his front wheels in the air, and Pauli Peltikangas is going for the very inside. He's not going to get it. Parappo will hang on to the final podium position, and Ioni Cotillo with a bump. He couldn't avoid the contact, and thankfully it's not any more consequential than that. And Renault Coots on the outside, braking at 75 meters. Ioni does have the racing line, and he'll hang on.
This is great stuff.
There's no time to breathe.
And yeah, this has meant that somehow Pauli's not had a great chicane, and Ioni's managed to close up the gap again. So even though Ioni's defending for his life from Renault Coots, he's not really dropping back from Pauli that much. This is going to be uncomfortable for him though. He's off his line again onto the gravel a little bit there through the kink on the back straight. This will set Renault up for a run into the end of the back straight. They're side by side. Ioni's defending. Renault's later on the brakes and he's trying it around the outside. It's going to work, I think. No, because this is going to let President Vidoviarts just drive around the outside if he's not careful. Ioni and Renault are just... Oh, this is crazy. They're both losing time. And that's let Vidoviarts get through. Ioni Cotillo won't mind that. Renault Coots will. But yeah, that's probably saved Ioni a bunch of time. Wow. I mean, that was some hard defending from Ioni. But I think the fact that Renault ran it too wide onto the grass and it just compromised his run through the final sector. Ioni has dodged a bullet there in the end for now, because Renault Coots has got back past Vidoviarts. And now Sean Lee's all over the back of Vidoviarts. And Ayoub El Hanouni's there for Born to Race as well. So it's all happening.
Much of Ayoub's car in the broadcast, and now he's got a great chance to poach some positions, get himself extra points for Born to Race.
Yeah, there's the gap between Ioni Cotillo and Pauli Peltikangas. We will, of course, bring you the updates in the Drivers' and Teams Championship at the end of both races. But yeah, if Ioni finishes here, then Pauli looks pretty set to lift that crown, but we will see.
David Balla all on his own in 27th. He hit the wall at the opening chicane, reversed, and was able to get going again. That is a potentially dangerous situation. He wasn't in a battle with another driver, so he's able to carry on. But remember, Georgior pitted for repairs, so every point will count for the team side as man in last position.
The battle for P2 is hotting up. Nico got a very weird line out of the final chicane, and that means Kaike Paroppo is all over his bumper now. Halinka's cleared off. Kaike trying to find a way around Nico now. Nico back on the grass. So Nico spending more time off the track than he is on it at the moment, and that's going to let Kaike have a bit of a draft through this Mickey Mouse chicane as we head onto the Ocean Straight. Nothing between them. Will Kaike go for a move into the kink? He's thinking about it. That's going to put Nico right off.
Yeah,
that's a great move.
Through. Well spotted, Pete. That's an excellent move.
Will Pauli think, I'll have a slice of that? Yes, he will. He moves to the inside. Will Nico defend? Nope. He opens the door and Nico loses 2 places in as many corners. Yoni won't like the sight of that one bit. Yoni has to do the same thing if he wants to save some points in the championship. Propo's teammate Araujo basically thinking about the same move on Daniel Balla. Daniel Balla and him going at it. Daniel Balla's car looks like it's been through the wars after the first 10 laps of this race.
Yeah, he was involved in that first lap incident with Georgior getting spun.
So as we complete 10 laps of 17 here, Patrick Halinka has a healthy lead over now Kaike Paroppo for Energy Virtual Racing. That's not a name we expected to be in the... we have... Who? Someone's rolled.
El Hanouni.
El Hanouni
did have a roll. He's on his wheels and able to carry on.
Okay, so a barrel roll. That's impressive. Luckily he landed it, but there we are. That car looking a little bit worse for wear. The roof is a bit caved in. So yeah, what was I saying? Paroppo for Energy Virtual Racing. Not someone we expected maybe to see in this position after his qualifying time was removed. But yeah, that's a great effort. Up to P2. Peltakangas then P3 after Nico Pantola drops down 2 positions on the last lap. And Yoni Katila has closed right up. And just a bit of TBO challenge trivia for you, Owen. If Kaike or Patrick win the race, it'll be the 8th different race winner of the season. The 8th different winner.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. Yeah, we could have had a full 9, but Renault Coots with his clean sweep of the last round, he made sure there wasn't going to be a sequence.
Yeah, how selfish.
The podium for himself, yeah. Oh, we have a roller.
Oh,
it's Paroppo.
It's Paroppo.
Paroppo out of 2nd place, but he is not back on his wheels. He's out. He's out of our sprint. That must be a safety car. He's right on the racing line. Safety
car deployed, and Halinka will not like that at all. He's worked so hard to get a lead, and somehow, how has Paroppo managed to roll the car there? He must have pitched himself off of one of the small tyre stacks to do that.
Pete, I saw how Paolo, I think he needed to be lapped, and he pulled out on the outermost edge of the grass. So he was off the track to let people through, and I think he was distracted. That's an awful shame. Like, the lapped car did its best, and he must have been distracted. So that's a huge moment. He was doing so well, Paroppo, and now his
that's such a shame.
His early afternoon is over. You'll have to try again from last place in the feature.
Yeah, I've got a feel for Halinka here. He worked so hard to build up a lead, and now he's got the strongest driver on the field right behind him. There are 25 kilograms of ballast in it, obviously, but yeah, Halinka won't have the advantage of the standing start for this one. Paddy Peltakangas has cleared all the cars he needs to clear in order to get into this leading battle. As Stuart Baker, our pace car driver, leaves the pit lane to pick up the leader, and the course cars guiding the field around that flipped car of Kaike Paroppo just after the first chicane. Safety car drama here in the sprint race of round 6 of the NDR TBO challenge. Patrick Halinka currently leading the race in his RB4 ahead of Pauli Peltikangas. Nika Pentola is up to P3 after Kaike flipped the car at the chicane. And Joni Katila needs a good restart. He needs to try and get past Nico as soon as possible. Renault Coots then in P5 had a bit of a ding-dong with Joni Katila, and he gets a chance now to do it over again because we are under safety car conditions, not virtual safety car conditions. All the cars can bunch up, and Joni will not like that one bit. Let's see what Presmek Vidoviarts can do on the restart. Can he try and get past Renault Coots? It'll depend when Halinka bolts. Obviously, he can leave some space to the safety car whenever the race director announces that the safety car will be in. I think there'll be one more lap of safety car action, and then it'll be green flag racing for 3 laps. So Owen, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so the main leaders are now behind the safety car. A lot of cars still need to get through the final sector and join the line, which is just about to enter the first chicane.
Nico's at full revs. It sounds like he's trying to save fuel or something. Burn fuel. Bit of an odd strategy.
Yeah, you don't expect to need to get rid of excess fuel. The drivers would normally predict what they need and stick to the ladder for it, not need to go over.
Yeah, Nico also trail braking a bit. So Stuart Baker will be in at the end of this lap, our safety car driver. He will begin to pick up the pace and hand the pace setting to Patrick Halinka for Born to Race, as he will now set the pace around the remainder of the lap, as he's already backing up Pauli Peltikangas. Pauli will want to get the best launch possible out of the final chicane to be in some sort of contention to take over the lead as the cars head into the IGTC chicane. Pauli won't be able to actually overtake Patrick until they cross the start-finish line. So he'll need
to go from the very top of the grid to the very back, I've noticed Jeremiah Sanella has done a wise thing and pitted his car for repairs, so it's back to normal. He can hopefully gain a position or two, but he's going to have to possibly hope for someone else to follow.
Halinka's bolted already. Halinka's bolted already, Owen. And look at the gap he's already opened up to Peltikangas. Everyone was sleeping. I think Nico's had a pretty good response considering that launch. That's a perfect launch. I don't think anyone expected him to go that early. Green flag is called, and Halinka will start the 3-lap dash to the end.
He pulled out a lead of 0.8 of a second just out of the safety car line. Wow.
Can Joni get a podium? Can Nico get a podium? That's the battle to watch, I think. Unless Nico fancies his chances at overtaking Pauli down the back straight. Let's see how we go.
Something went wrong for Renault Coots at the start. He's fallen a huge way back. Vidoviarts will be sandwiched between those two Air Attack newsroom cars, but will there be any sort of tactics from that pair? We'll have to wait and see. It's a very late call if they're going to do it.
Riding aboard with Joni Katila as we enter the final sector. He's going to want the cleanest... Oh, as Pauli runs quite deep there, he's going to want a really clean run through this chicane. Pauli's line won't help Nico. This might help Joni, though, as we head on to the home straight for the penultimate time in this race.
Down the middle of the pack, about 17th position, we have Steve Martin. On the ascendancy is Andrea Raujo. Tried a huge attack heading down to the final sector. Now he's paid the price for it, as Steve Martin leads from Sakis Daniel Balla. Fonseca going horribly wide. Fonseca spins. Fonseca's spun, but he's held it. Brilliant job from the 03 car. How has he done that?
That promotes Reg LeBlanc. And it was getting awfully spicy at the front. Nose to tail, Pauli, Nico and Joni into turn 1. Managed to get the cameras away to see Fonseca's unfortunate incident. But yeah, we've got Vidoviart still chasing down Renault Coots. But Sean Lee, yes,
is through.
He's overtaken Sean Lee by quite a margin, so he must have had a problem maybe at the chicane. It's quite a big gap. For the penultimate time, Halinka rounds the twisty corners before the bridge. One chicane to go, and then he's on the final lap, and 1 lap to go, and he'll be our 8th different winner of the TBO challenge. Pauli Peltikangas, well, if Halinka makes any errors on this lap, he will make up for it, and Eoin looks set to take the 3rd step on the podium because Nico got the final chicane all wrong, Eoin. Nico's dropped the ball on the final lap, and he's down to P4, so Eoin with important points. If he can keep that final podium step position. And Renault Coots might be thinking about a move on Nico on this lap as well. Let's see how this battle goes.
If he can pull off another top 5 finish when he only debuted in the last round, that'll go to show he's no one-trick pony.
No, absolutely, as Daniel Balla and Araujo are still going at it. Araujo currently leading that battle. That's Sujitas Sakis in the background. Final couple of corners, Eoin, and Pauli's quite a way back from Halinka. Halinka needs to keep his eyes firmly focused out of the front window, not in the rear view. Doesn't want to be put off in the final chicane. It's such a difficult corner to get right, the final chicane. No such problems.
Patrick Klinke. He's going to win the sprint race here at Fern Bay Green. So we make it another winner 8. And Pauli Peltikangas gives his championship bid another massive boost with a P2. Yanni Catella tried his best, but it's only 3rd for him. And then for the rest of the grid, we've got Nico Matola in 4th. Renault Coots has completed the top 5. Sean Lee may come to regret a P6 behind his teammate, but we'll have to wait and see in the feature. Vidoviart has got 7th place for his efforts. Carlos Madritas, the rank outsider for the championship, it may be over and done with as he can only gain 8th place. Ayu Belhanouni went for a bit of a barrel roll, but he will be happy with 9th. Yari Katila gets a top 10 finish. Sandor Chanturia for his Falcons team is 11th. Well enough for World Class Lions 12th. Jared Mead, we haven't seen much out of him today. He's kept it quiet, but Angry Angus will be 13th. Michael Malik 14th. Magic is going to finish 15th. Cahill Corkin is 16th for Born to Race. Dave Martin, a great job from him. He was quite visible in the midfield battle. He has a 17th position for his name. Andre Araujo, did he have the pit lane start? If I recall, he's managed to gain 18th. Sakis has 19th position. Daniel Balla had a very damaged car from his lap 1 accident, but the number 43 has 20th. Timu Swiney has 21st for his RB4. Reg LeBlanc, for Angry Angus, came 22nd. Fonseca had a big spin that I managed to catch. He was in 23rd. Gabor Dior's effort to rescue his early afternoon. He pitted for repairs and managed to come 24th. Jeremiah Sinella had a tough day as well. That's 25th. David Balla, another driver who will be disappointed, making a mistake, 26th. Weber is 27th. How Paulo 28th. And then we lost one of the drivers.
Who did we lose? We lost Kaike Propo.
Kaike Propo failed to finish from his potential bid for the podium, so that's a real shame. And that sums up our race. What do you think, Pete?
Qualifying. What do I think? I think it was full of all the drama we expected, and you can see our podium there actually on the grid. Patrick Linker, our 8th different winner, Eoin. of the TBO Challenge 2020 season. On his left is the championship leader, Pauli Paltakangas, and Eoin Katila. And before we say anything more, I want to confirm that Pauli Paltakangas is the TBO Challenge 2020 Drivers Champion. Congratulations to him. That's amazing to have sealed that before we even hit the feature race. Pauli Paltakangas is the winner of the Drivers Championship. That's absolutely massive. He has a 318-point lead, and there are only 302 points available in race 2, so that's how we can confirm that Pauli has won. And yeah, the gap in the teams championship, the advantage is still to Sidus, but I think it's still too close to call for the teams championship. So we'll have to wait until the end of race 2 to determine whether Sidus will take the win. But yeah, congrats to Pauli. That's awesome. We'll have a short break now before the start of the feature race. Race 1 was fraught, but awesome. I really enjoyed calling it, as usual. I think the addition of the chicane, the IGTC chicane, definitely caused a few incidents, but definitely fewer than it would have done if it wasn't there, with the sorts of moves that we saw being pulled off into turn 1, Owen.
Yeah, certainly. I'd like to extend my congratulations to Pauli Paltakangas as well. That's a massive achievement to be as consistent as he has from the very first outing all the way to the conclusion. And the turn 1, we did have side-by-side battles, which is what we want to see. You don't want the one at a time kind of racing. Ruins the entire first sector. But thankfully, once the race was red flagged, the drivers were able to adapt. They got on with the job at hand, and we had a clean race from the leaders.
We hope to be able to bring you the full standings update in just a few moments' time as we wait for everything to be settled for the start of the feature race. Do we know what was the finishing race time, Owen?
26 minutes 43 seconds, 0.09.
So 9 cars will be reversed, which will put Abel Hanouni provisionally on pole position, alongside Carolus Motojutis. So Carolus, if he gets a good result over Ioni, who knows what could happen. I think Ioni's probably gained enough points from the first race to feel fairly confident of P2. Sean Lee finished behind him, so Ioni will be P2 in the championship. Sean Lee P3, almost certainly. But Carolus still probably in the hunt there in P8. He'll be on the first front row for race 2. The race director just organising the grid for the start of the feature race. So I can now bring you the update in the Drivers' Championship. As it stands, Pauli Paltakangas has won the championship, as we mentioned before. Yoni Katilla is still ahead of Nika Pantola and Sean Lee. Carolus Motodutis still P5. Sanjo Chanturia P6. Daniel Balla P7. Oscar Hardwick P8. Ayub El Hanouni P9. Gaborgia in P10. Michael Malik P11 and Jared Mead in P12. Isaac drops to P13. Bozidar Velanov P14. Hlinka jumps up a few places to P15. Yari Katilla P16. Magic P17, Jurgen Weber P18, Jeff and Jacob P19, Jeremiah Sinella P20, Timu Soini P21, Andrea Raujo P22, Renaud Koots P23 and Radek Lutsky in P24. That is the Provisional Drivers' Championship after the round 6 sprint race. And we're only moments away from the start of the feature race, after which we should be able to confirm the results in the Teams Championship. As we mentioned before, Sidus's gap has reduced by 20 points from 473 to 453 over World Class Lions, which means that they still have a pretty firm hand on the Teams trophy, but we will only be able to confirm that after the feature race has concluded. Sidus currently on 3,643 points and World Class Lions on 3,218 points. Kind of irrelevant numbers when they're that big, Owen.
Yeah, it does feel like an insurmountable gap. Very strong showing from Pauli. Meant that the Borgyor's disappointment isn't as heartfelt as I would have thought.
Thank you to Tilo Falkenberg, as ever, for crunching the numbers between the races here to bring you live updates in the championships. We have to buy him a new calculator every week because he keeps wearing the buttons off them. But yeah, he puts it to good effect, so thank you, Tilo. We are moments away. We have drivers readying up on the server for another formation lap before our sprint race. Our feature race this evening, which will be 26 laps of Fern Bay Green with the IGTC chicane added. On Kyoto we have the Buddha chicane, and here we have the IGTC chicane. Okay, we have cars on track, Owen. And let's do this for the final time this season. Ayub El Hanouni is on pole position, ahead of Carolus Motodutis. Here comes the feature race.
Yeah, and the championship is now over for Pauli's individual benefit. He can put on a show for the crowd and hope to have one last great battle with Yoni Katilla. They've been outstanding this season, and it'd be great to see them push their way up one more time.
Yeah, our 2020 Drivers' Champions Championship champion starts in P8. Hlinka, the winner from the sprint race, will start in P9. And Yari Katilla is the unlucky driver from the reverse grid. He starts P10. With Ayub El Hanouni and Carolus Motodutis on the front row, followed by Prezrak Vidoviarts and Sean Lee. Sean Lee starts ahead of his teammate again, but will they switch immediately? We will see. The race director asking the drivers at the back of the grid to catch up. It seems like a big void has opened between the front and the back. So yeah, those drivers need to hurry up so that we're not waiting around on the grid and our leaders' tyres are getting cold. Yoni Katilla starts P7. Alongside him will be Pauli, Dennis Hlinka and Yari on row 5. So Ayub was unlucky, or lucky rather, in the sprint race because his car was, well, it rolled over, didn't it, Eoin? So let's see if he can have a clean race this time. 26 laps.
Yeah, it was definitely very tough for him. He had huge talented drivers in front of him and hungry and determined drivers behind him. So when his car landed back on his wheels, I'm sure he was dancing for joy, just delighted to keep going. And he's now got the feature race pole. And then the unlucky man, Kaike Parapo, is going to line up 29th and dead last. But I suppose I'm glad just to see him try again. He's going to push his way up the order. And hopefully he'll get a top 15. That's a reasonable prediction, I think.
Yeah, the final few cars are filing into position. João Paulo will be the final car to take up that spot on the grid. And then Abe will have full control of the race. And look at Nico Pantola's car and Patrick Kalinka's car yet again pointed towards the right side of the track. Eoin, please, for the final time in the main championship, take us away for the start of the race.
Pardon the interruption, Pete. Jeremiah Sinella's missed his box, but he's just been directed where to go. I think he's recovered it just out of shot down in 25th. He's now got it. Just a little shy, actually.
Yeah, Jurgen's a little bit out of position, but we're going for the start anyway.
Lights are now on. There's a 1, a 2, and a 3. Let's go for the final time at Fern Bay Green. Confused start there. Vidoviart's in a spot of bother, but Ayub El Hanouni will lead into the IGTC chicane. No tire clip for the leader. Going to look a bit further back. Michael Malik is on the outside of Pauli Peltakangas. May have lost out just a tiny bit, but they'll now head into turns 3, 4, and 5. Slight problem for David Bell at the very back of the grid. The rescue car of Jonathan Palmer has him in his sight, but it should be okay. Into P3 is Nico Pantola using his RB4's traction to great effect. Matajitas will have to pick his line to defend. He's currently resting on the outside line, which give him the apex entry, and he's left the door open.
Oh, contact!
Door open. Contact is made. Oh, that's so heartbreaking for Carolus, and Nico will regret that one.
Yeah, definitely.
He had every right to compete for it, but it's just gone wrong.
Yeah, that's promoted.
So every car by.
It's promoted at Air Attack Newsrun Racing to P2 and 3. A podium for both of them if they can keep it. Ioni Katilla up to P4. Silas is Pauli Peltakangas, Drivers' Champion, up to P5. Wow, Nico. That was a misjudged braking zone, and he's wiped Carolus completely out of the race. He's down in P17. Nico, it's gone even worse for him. He's down in P21. That promotes Klinka.
Sandro Chantoria went for a dive bomb, and it backfired. Patrick Klinka, our winner in the sprint, defended the outside line into the chicane, and Michael Malik and Jared Mead are through. So that's a little bit of a disappointment for Sandro, but now he's on the outside of Jared Mead, using his front wheel drive to good effect, but he's on the wrong side of this sweeper. He's gonna take the cut. And no, that's gonna be trouble.
Oh, 3 wide.
Outside.
Wow.
Oh my goodness me. How has Velenov done that? Oh no, now it's gonna backfire on him as well. Contact with poor old Jared Mead. That's his nightmare corner today. It's all gone wrong. Andre Araujo's gonna pop into that little gap as if it was a game of Tetris.
Yeah.
And he decides, no, I'm going to hold off for the moment. It's just Velenov, my goodness. That was bravery and a bit of naivety, but thankfully we're able to carry on with our battles in the top 10. Excellent and a bit remarkable at the same time. And Nico Batola's day is going to get from bad to worse here. He's down in 18th. Yari Katilla was defending in the final sweeper, and Nico is ahead now of the World Class Lions, but he's got to back off now. He doesn't want to cause another mistake with Magic. Oof. And Magic just decided to back off, and
got a car off.
Is off.
Yeah, Halinka's off.
Halinka, we missed it.
Oh no, disaster up and down the field. Ayub's clean. Sean Lee P2, Renault Coots P3. Ioni P4, Peltikangas P5, then it's Radoviarts, Malik, Velanov, Araujo and Chanturia in the top 10, and poor Patrick Linker, no idea what happened there. It's too busy focused down the order. We'll try and get it to you later.
Yeah, we've got Cathal Crorkin on the inside now. Sandro Chanturia. Daniel Bala is watching and waiting to see what happens here. A slight
Still
touch
side
the
by
curb.
side.
Crorkin is ahead. And Daniel Bala goes for it as well. But that's a good defense from the Falcons. FXO. He'll hang on for the moment in 11th place. Crorkin understeers. Oh, he's going to give it back to the Georgian.
Yeah, meanwhile in the background,
the
in the background,
so much going on.
Yeah, as Chanturia takes that place, we've got side by side between some green cars, Jared Mead and Daniel Bala, and then Nika Pantola. Jared ahead of Daniel still. In the background also is Gabor with Motojutis. Gabor moves ahead of Motojutis. Jared leads these cars through the chicane. There's tyres popping in the way. There's been a change. Crorkin's got back past Chanturia somehow. It's all going off.
And new race leader Sean Lee, he's managed to find a way past Ayub for position. And that's going to make it even more troublesome now, as Renault Coots is going to push for the outside line, heading into the next sweeping chicane next to the cliffside. He's going to go for it, and he's got it.
And look at Ioni.
Absolutely, yeah. He's going to yield heading onto the bridge. He's going to get the outside line.
Through the final chicane.
Another lap we completed. Lap number 5 will be their next step as we head onto a beautiful helicopter shot of our main contenders for second place at the minute. And it should be single file now. There's no need to lunge here. And just behind that battle, Prejmek Vidoviarts clipped the curb and went slightly wide. And he wasn't in a position to be overtaken.
Look at Ioni. He's gone for the move into the braking zone, onto the beach section. And he's got past Ayub. So Ayub, after leading the race,
exquisite pass
down
there.
to P4. But yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well lined up. Daniel Bala's lost out on a bunch of places as he pitches the car over the chicane there.
Yeah, and here is our man on the mission, Kaike Parapo, and not quite ready to overtake. But I think now Daniel Bala is extremely vulnerable. Those cars are evenly matched, however, whereas Yari Katila's FXO is just going to lose a little bit in the horsepower.
Jared's gone
range.
wide. And that's let Nico through,
Jared, no.
and Motojutis through. Jeremiah Sinella's retired. It's all going on. There is literally too much action happening. I don't normally complain about that.
Yeah, indeed, Pete. The more the merrier, but unfortunately we only have a pair of eyes and a few keyboard buttons to press. A lot of action going on, just not enough fingers and eyes to deal with it.
Basically, that's the gist of it. So, in this little battle, we've got Cathal Crorkin for Born to Race in P11, now followed by Nika Pantola. Oof, goodness me. He's battling with Gior, Motojutis, and then this huge battle between Parapo. 3 wide, Yari Katila, Daniel Bala, and Mead. Contact!
Oh, no.
Daniel's gone onto the sticky grass. That's terrible. Oh no, and that's let Magic, and Jared's going to let him through, I think, but doesn't want to back him into
Reginald
Magic.
Blanc benefits as well. Magic on the outside.
So many green cars having trouble here. But yeah, great news for Reg LeBlanc.
Oh my goodness, Magic, what are you doing? Oh,
That's
he's
Magic.
Totally pitched it onto the grass.
Let's have a moment of calm. It seems like the leaders are having a calm moment. We've got an Air Attack Newsroom Racing 1-2 at the moment. Sean Lee leads from Renault Coots. Then it's Ioni Katila, who has 21 laps, 20 after this one, to try and catch up to those 2 XRTs out front. Gabor Gjör was side by side with Nico. He's now not, but in the background, Katal Krorkin and MotoGuti still going at it, and Gabor should have a run if he can settle that car down. It's close.
Potential look down the inside. I don't think he needs to do it just yet. Well, the battle for 11th hots up. Cathal Krorkin falls to 14th behind Carlos Madritas. And Jared Mead. Look at Jared Mead heading into turn number 3 against Jari. No, it's safe for the moment. Good driving from the Finn. And Canadian support will be leaning behind the Angry Angus pair. Oh, he's clipped the curb. You can see it brilliantly with that camera shot. But for Jared's sake, I don't think he should try anything into this corner. It's treated him extremely harshly today, and he should try again next time, I think.
Yeah, Fern Bay Green is putting on an absolute treat for us in this second race. And it can't even all be attributed to the reverse grid because most of the actions happened outside the top 10. Jari Katilla's gone deep. That's going to let Jared have another go. He's put the car just where it needs to be as they head onto the bridge, but Jari has the outside line, and that's better there in the FXO. And yeah, Jared not able to get past just yet, but he's got one more attempt, probably as we head down to start-finish, but it hasn't worked. Propo side by side with Katal Krorkin. Owen?
So my compatriot Cathal has lost a position. Kaike Propo, we know how fast he is on this circuit, but he's out. He's excelling my expectations here. I thought 15th would be realistic, but thanks to all this magnificent battling side by side, he's up to 14th. The race leaders are now very close up to each other now. Sean Lee has lost time to Renault. But if Renault is going to become our first 3-time winner of the series, he's going to have to do something later on. I don't think he needs to push for position yet. So long left in this feature.
Yeah, if he does get the win, yeah, you're right. He will be the first 3-time winner. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly, yeah, he's the only double winner.
Yeah, and will be the only triple winner. Most successful race victor of the series. He's looking smooth, and Sean's looking a little bit ragged, but we'll see how that goes throughout the race. Eoin Katilla not really getting any closer. Maybe he'll want those two to battle as teammates. I'm not sure they will. It doesn't really matter for Sean Lee and Renault. Obviously, it matters for Sean in the Drivers' Championship. He doesn't want to be just handing positions away to anybody. Points mean prizes. So, yeah, he doesn't want to give away the position to his teammate. But for the benefit of his standings, he may want to if Eoin gets too close.
Comeback drive for Patrick Linke will begin in earnest as João Paulo is having an awful time with his connection. He's slipping, he's sliding, and he just needs to pull over and allow the faster driver through for position. João has had a very tough time of it all season long, and it's great to see he never gives up.
Here comes Renault. Sorry to butt in, Owen. Renault's
no problem.
Figuring that this is going to be the lap. Exchanges of horns between the teammates, and Sean puts on the anchors a bit earlier and lets Renault through without any time loss. Bit of tyre clippage, but yeah, Renault Coots moves up to P1 past his teammate. For Aerotac News and Racing, Sean drops to P2, and they have lost a bit of time because Eoin's closed the gap. Nika Pantola is, he must be angry or something because he's set the fastest lap of the race, Owen. So clearly maybe some frustration.
Just ahead of him there, Velinov hit Araujo in the rear bumper, and Sander Chanturia has a chance to gain position as Nico will obviously lose out on his epic pace today with the two drivers ahead of him. But if he gets a chance to overtake while they battle, then he'll certainly get another shot at the fastest lap, as Araujo has about probably half a second of space compared to the Bulgarian of Velenov. Tola goes to the outside and switches. Oh no, that surely
he's
must be,
hit Chanturia.
If the first was a racing incident, I'm afraid the benefit of the doubt for Nico will be very, very unlikely. He's waiting. He's done the honourable thing, but I'm afraid the stewards will have to talk to Nico about this. It was a bad switcheroo attempt, and the fact that it's happened twice at the same corner in the same race, that's going to be looked down very harshly indeed.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chanturia wasn't able to rejoin quick enough, and Nico was waiting. And yeah, I don't know, Nico's. It's probably not even worth waiting now. It's not going to help anything. Andre Araujo on Michael Malik didn't quite pay off, but they're close. This is good stuff. Inside the top 10 for both these drivers now that certain drivers are dropping out of the top 10.
Chanturia doesn't want to continue. He's parked at the chicane.
You've got to feel for him. It's a big shame.
He's consistently battling for the honours just below our championship contenders. I'm afraid he doesn't want to carry on. Doesn't see the need with the car in the shape it's in.
Ioni Katilla's closed up to the back of Sean Lee. As we hear that the incident between Sandro Chanturia and Nico is under investigation. I'll let you know if anything happens, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Nico's down in P17 and Sandro's parked the car, so unfortunate there. As Ioni, and Sean has to avoid a tyre on the track left presumably by his teammate. Does well and doesn't lose any time as a result, but it's getting close now for the battle for P2. We ride on board with Ioni Katilla for World Class Lions. Daniel Balla side by side with Jared Mead across start finish. Daniel in a good position to get the move done. Heavy on the brakes. I love this first chicane. It really does add something to this track, and it's side by side action between Nico Pantola and Felipe Fonseca. Nico's driving angry. Needs to calm down. He's going for a move around the outside of Jared. I think Jared saw Nico and thought, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to get involved in that. Nico up a couple more places to P15. Next on his menu will be Daniel Balla. But yeah, back to Ioni Katilla, Owen. And Sean is going to be defending hard, I think, for the next few laps.
Yeah, Ioni has the team's championship to worry about. Sean just wants to finish perhaps as the runner-up, but that's not going to happen as things stand. But Nico Patola's bid to finish third, I think it's all over now. Sean Lee should be happy with that, but if he can keep pushing, you never know. The 1-2 for his team, that'll lift them up very nicely indeed. Ioni is still very close, not quite enough. Their most recent split times are within 200ths of each other. That's how close it is. No love lost between these two. Ali Patkangas, he's loving life in fourth place. Doesn't need to win. Doesn't need to finish on the podium. He can just watch and show off his talent as the new TBO Challenge champion.
Yeah, wouldn't he love to win the race and become a double winner?
But he's had the 25 kilos of ballast for practically
for the whole season.
Campaign.
Yeah,
there's not much he can do.
Ioni super close to the back of Sean now. Surely this is it. Sean goes defensive already, and the FXO slightly hampered maybe. Yeah, wow. So Sean, able to keep ahead.
And we have a battle hotting up in the fringes of the top 10. Kaike Parappa on the outside of Gabor Gior. A double here on Velenov. He's got it. That's absolutely remarkable.
Oh, and that's a roll.
It's Gabor Gior.
Oh, no.
In the background. I wasn't paying attention to that, Pete. Maybe you saw it.
Yeah, he just pitched it over on the first part of the chicane, and that's it for Gabor. That's bad in the team's championship. I think it's enough. I think it's okay. I think Sidus will wrap this up, but obviously it's it's tricky. Gabor needed a good finish to make this comfortable in the team's championship. As Sean Lee really is defending now from Yoni. Yoni's on the grass. He's over the tyres, and this is going to be Pauli around Yoni.
Oh, goodness me.
So what's happening?
I couldn't tell you now. These drivers up the very front are comfortable.
I'm not sure.
Car 87, stop go.
Yeah, I think
avoidable incidents.
That was race director Jonathan Provost there. I wasn't quite sure. What was the penalty there? I completely missed it. I was too busy.
Nico Patola, multiple avoidable multiple collisions.
Yeah, what did he get? What was the penalty?
It's a drive-through penalty.
Drive-through, okay. Yeah, as expected, I guess.
Stop go, I beg your pardon. Stop go.
Stop go for Nico, sorry. So yeah, Pauli moves ahead of Yoni finally, after basically letting him go through the final part of the lap. Paroppo's made a move on Michael Malik, so Paroppo really is a man on a mission here, clearly using that qualifying pace to good effect. Next for him will be his teammate Andre Araujo. Michael Malik and Bozidar Velanov, world-class Lions, having a good fight as well. But yeah, Peltkan goes up to P3. Setting his sights on Sean Lee, but Renault Coots has disappeared. He's already at the final sector already.
Yeah, Michael Malik was doing extremely well for himself in 7th, but now he's down to 10th as the number 47, number 50 combo. They both got past. Or 18 and 50, excuse me.
Yeah, Kaike Paroppo is all over the back of his teammate Andre Araujo, as I mentioned. So, and in fact, Andre lets him through pretty easily there. So Paroppo, a good second race if he can avoid rolling the car. Up to P7, that's a really good effort. Very good effort.
Extraordinary, yeah. He's nearly double what I expected of him. 15th was my prediction, and 7th is the outcome. Then I'm well and truly off with my guess today.
Velanov having a go on Araujo. Nope, not quite. Pauli really is getting close to the back of Sean now. Yoni is curtailed quite a bit. Sean runs a couple of wheels onto the gravel. That's going to give Pauli the run he needs if he can avoid... Oh, no, there's a bit of contact, so Sean gets the advantage. They're switching around all over the place. Sean really doesn't want to give up P2. He's dropped it, and that'll be Pauli around the outside easily before the bridge. So Sean down to P3, and Pauli showing everyone what he's made up to P2.
And Gabor Gyor has spectated. That's the teammate for Team Sidus out of today's feature. And it means it's the solo job now for the champion to make sure the team's trophy lands in their cabinet as well.
Yeah, it's a shame to see.
Is close with Andre Araujo. Pardon the interruption there, Pete.
No, it's okay. It's a shame to. I was just saying, it's a shame to see Gabor not able to finish the final race. I'm not sure it's going to matter that much in the team's championship overall. Not with Pauli leading from Yoni, but we will see. Yeah, we are watching Velanov as he fights with Andre Araujo for Energy Virtual Racing. Paroppo's already so far ahead of these two. Paroppo's got real pace in that car.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think Hanouni's just a little too far ahead. But again, I don't want to predict a second time and get it wrong.
Here comes Velanov.
With Kaike.
Oh, almost avoiding the contact, but Araujo onto the gravel. There's a lot of overtakes happening into that corner where the driver behind is kind of unsettling the car ahead, and forcing him onto the grass. And that's a good move for Velenov. That promotes him to P8. An update from our calculator warrior, Tilo Falkenberg. The Sidus championship battle with world-class Lions currently is as follows. Sidus, if they finish where they are now, if everyone finishes where they are now, will win the team's championship by a comfortable margin of 353 points ahead of world-class Lions. That's if it finishes the way it is right now. Thank you, Tilo.
And it's game over for Nico Pantola as well. His stop-go penalty no longer required as he disconnects from the feature race.
23 cars remain in the feature race. Sorry, Eoin.
No problem. The gap, or the vacancy left behind by Nico Pantola, is being filled by Timo Sweeney and Steve Martin. They're into turns 3, 4 and 5 as I speak. Steve Martin has a bit of better traction out of turn 5. He'll need to use the tactic you've been talking about, Pete, which is overtaking down near the cliffside. Turn number 9, I believe. Oh no, he's pulled over. Sweeney just decides, I'm not going to bother with Stephen Martin and SM Racing. He's just letting him go straight ahead.
Fair play. I mean, yeah, he's entitled to do what he wants. He can battle who he wants, but yeah, that was a very please drive around me motion to Steve Martin, and Steve says, all right, thanks, up to P16.
Daniel Bala attacks Jari Katila again. This is turns 3, 4 and 5. Jari has the outside, which will help him use that curbing. A little bit of a slide in this front wheel drive, but the XRT I think will have horsepower in reserve for sector 2. Very nice and clean through that sweeping chicane. Watch out, Jari. The inside is open, but it's such a deep corner going downhill. Almost blind on exit. You need to avoid the gravel on the outside. And I think Jari's going to defend for the moment.
Yeah, Jari comfortable gap for now. Eoin Katila crosses the line to start lap 20. Within inches of the rear bumper of Sean Lee. Still no way around him. Meanwhile, the gap ahead of those two to Pauli continues to rise, and so does the gap to race leader Renault Coute, so we've not really talked about much in recent times, but he is a fair way ahead. He's really having a great race. He's lapping cars all the way down to Carolus Motojutis, I think. Carolus down in P21 after not such a great feature race. He started in P2 alongside Ayoub El Hanouni, and Ayoub's out down in P6, and Carolus down in P21, so not fantastic. Pauli doing everything he needs to do, or in fact he's done everything he needs to do already for the Drivers' Championship, but doing everything he needs to do for the Teams' Championship, sitting P2 right now. Then it's Sean and Sean for Aerotech Newsroom and Eoin Katila for World Class Lions. Surely he's going to find a way around Sean Lee at some point. He's been trying for the best part of 10 laps, I think, now. Sean doing a very good defensive job. And the gap's even bigger than it was a few laps ago, so a good lap from Sean.
And David Bella's getting lapped now by positions 2, 3 and 4. Just need to hang on a little bit longer, David. Don't let them all bunch up and hit you. There you go, good job.
Yeah, Sean Lee onto the back section now, and thanks to a little bit of backmarker help, the gap to Eoin's opened up even further. Although I'm not going to attribute that to David. He didn't do anything wrong, it's just where he ended up on track.
And the fellow Bella, Daniel, gets the job done on Jari Katila. That was turn 3, yet again proving to be so helpful to those XRTs, gaining the traction and the power combination that they need compared to the FXOs. That was 11th place now. Carlos Madritas does have the pace to keep ahead of Renault Coots, but the blue flags are waving like mad here. He's going to have to make a decision soon because he's still got time to battle with Magic for 20th. But Renault Coots, I think, is just cruising along at the minute. His lead is still healthy, but it's such a bizarre situation. There you go, at last. The swap over is complete. And now Carlos can put the boot down and concentrate on his personal battle with Magic.
Yeah, Carlos will want to make sure that, he'll want to stay as close to Renault as he can and try and follow him through maybe when he gets to the back of Magic. Carlos left Renault quite a lot of room there on the outside, hampered him a bit, but cleanly through, so that's nice. Sean Lee is actually catching the back of Pauli Peltokangas, so something has switched here because Sean's looking fast, unless Pauli has had a sloppy lap. Honestly, I think that could be the reason. The gap wasn't this small before, so Pauli maybe with some issues, and Sean now looking like the Air Attack Newsroom Racing P1 and 2 may be back on the cards, Owen. We're hearing that Pauli's having trouble with his tyres, which isn't really that unexpected in the FXO around here.
I didn't like the look of his car sort of squirreling under braking for the first chicane. And now Magic, see what's happened with Magic now is he's let so many cars by that Carlos was able to overtake.
Oh, so
anyway,
easily.
So
yeah.
Magic has just decided I'm just going to settle for my finish now. I'm not going to bother. But Sean Lee now will exploit Pauli's unwell front right rubber. But with 4 or 3.5 laps to go, he's really got to make up his mind now. Prejmek Vidoviars are just behind this battle with Sean Lee's on board. Vidoviars is very close to Eoin Catilla for the top 5, or excuse me, it's 4th. Let's see what happens with the suspension bouncing against those final curbs. Sean Lee's on the outside. He's not going to overtake just yet, but good pace from Vidoviars.
Yeah,
a hint of a podium here.
Exactly. I think any of these 4 could get the podium because we're being set up for a good finale here. It's reminiscent of the F2 race with the, well, not the leader, Renault Coots is miles ahead, but the remaining 4 battling for the top final 2 steps on the podium are really close here with 3 laps to go. Pauli's going to do everything he can to hang on. Sean's going to do everything he can to get the 1-2 for his team. But yeah, as it stands, with 3 laps to go, 2.5 laps to go, Team Sidus will have the double, the teams and the Drivers' Championship. But anything can happen. Let's see, what can Pauli do? A non-finish would be a disaster. But yeah, Sean is looking like a man on a mission. He really wants that place, and I don't blame him. It'll be great to see a 1-2 for his team after a really good season. Never really in with a shout of winning the Teams Championship because of the late addition of Renault Coots, but this looks like a good run for Sean. Will it be enough? Probably not on this occasion. Pauli runs deep. Sean's going to hit the switchback. Pauli's on the gravel. He could lose out to Eoin Catilla as well here. Let's see. Yep, Sean's ahead. Eoin's on the outside, so good move that from Sean. Yeah, Pauli's ailing tyres just not giving him the grip he needed through the first chicane. That was a good move by Sean. Let's see if he can keep it. Eoin really will want that podium. So will Pauli. All of these guys will want that podium. Oh, it's so close between Eoin and Pauli now.
This is obviously the sector of the track that you just have to stay in formation. It's so quick and so dangerous if you have a wheel on the grass. Now braking about 75 meters. Sean Lee's exit is not going to be so comfortable. He's got enough of a gap.
Yeah, they're still as close as they were on the previous lap, but the order at the front has changed. Sean takes P2 away from Pauli Peltikangas, who drops to P3 as Renault Coots enters the final lap. We have a battle on our hands for the remaining spaces on the podium. Hopefully Renault can have a clean final lap and deal with any backmarker traffic well. But yeah, Sean already has opened up that gap to Pauli. He's through the first chicane cleanly as well. And now it looks like Eoin Katila is kind of the car that could take P3 away from Pauli at this point. Vidoviarts has dropped back slightly from this group now, so the battle really is on between Eoin and Pauli on this final lap of the final round of the TBO Challenge.
Sean Lee gains another 1/10 of a second in the first sector, but Pauli, he will have to find his defensive skills with the primary overtaking spot coming up with Eoin Katila just a little bit too far back. I think 3/10 is not enough to dive bomb. And wide goes How Paulo getting
I thought it was
Thank
Sean.
goodness.
I couldn't see Sean from the onboard shot of Eoin Katila. I thought Sean had binned it, but no such drama. Sean coming out of the final corner, and so is Renault Coots. Renault Coots will be our first triple winner to win the final race of the final round of the NDR TBO Challenge. And here comes Sean Lee to make it a 1-2 for Aerotech Newsroom Racing, closely followed by Sidus's Pauli Peltikangas, which means that Sidus are the team's champion as well in the NDR TBO Challenge. Pauli Peltikangas makes it the double for Team Sidus. Congratulations to Pauli Peltikangas, Gaborgia and Rick Cardle for winning the team's championship. That's an epic effort. Eoin Katila comes across the line P4. Then it's Prejmek Vidoviarts in P5. Abe El Hanouni, a good result after starting on the front row. He finishes P6. Kaike Paroppo finishes P7 after showing some really nice pace. He started at the back of the grid, remember, after rolling his car in race 1. Bozidar Velenov P8, then Andrea Araujo for Energy Virtual Racing P9. Daniel Balla for Race Green rounds out the top 10. Michael Malek had an interesting race. He was involved in lots of the midfield battles. He finishes P11. Yara Katila, strong effort there, P12. Jared Mead was involved in a lot of action too there, Owen. He finishes in P13. Fabio Fonseca, P14. Sigitas Sakis, P15. Steve Martin, P16. Timu Soini, P17. Jürgen Weber for Heroes of Racing finishes P18. Reg LeBlanc in P19. Karolis Motojutis, he started P2. He had a terrible race by all accounts. Just didn't go his way. Finishes in P20. Magic, P26. David Balla, P27. And João Paulo for Ford Rally Sport rounds out the 23 finishers in the feature race of round 6 of the NDR TBO Challenge 2020. And there you have it, your podium for the feature race. In the middle, Renault Coots. To his left, his teammate Sean Lee. And drivers and teams champion, Team Sidus, Pauli Peltikangas finishes that race on that occasion in P number 3. What a race, Owen.
Yeah, certainly, Pete. I think this was the race with the highest attrition. We had a lot of drivers succumbing to crashes or other incidents such as stop-go penalties. But it was a class above again for Renault Coots. Once he finds his grooves, he's almost unstoppable. Sean Lee, great ending for him and his team, coming second. And then, of course, our champions, Team Sidus, and their lead driver, Pauli Peltikangas, gets another trophy to add, and that's a fabulous job. And Kaike Paroppo got the fastest lap. Great job for him, totally exceeding my expectations. I would have loved to see him battling for the win, though. That would have been great.
Yeah, interestingly, the 3 podiums that Renault Coots has had in this season have all been wins. He's had 3 wins and 3 podiums, so that's good. Pauli Peltikangas has had the most podiums this season. He's had well, what has he had? He's had a win, 2 second places, and now 4 third places. So yeah, 7 podiums for Pauli Peltokangas. 6 podiums for Ioni Katila. That's 2 wins, a second place, and 3 third places. Nika Pontola has had 4 podiums, a win, 2 second places, and a third. Sean Lee makes this 1 win and 3 third places. So that's a good effort. No, sorry, he came second. So that's a win, a second, and 2 third places for him. We'll post the full stats on the forum for these sorts of things after on the Live for Speed forum. But so yeah, some really nice stats coming out of this season for the TBO Challenge. Yeah, a really awesome season, hosted really nicely by New Dimension Racing. It's great to see so many drivers involved week in and week out, especially with the sorts of real world styles of racing that we see here in the hosted by NDR, especially with the addition of virtual safety cars and things like that. It always adds to the action. It definitely played a part in the sprint race, and I'm sure 1 or 2 drivers would have been hoping for a safety car or some sort of action in the feature race to kind of bring their race back to them. But yeah, we're going to hold for a few moments while we wait to see whether we have any driver interviews for today. And we'll bring the updates to both of the championships to you as soon as we can. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll take maybe a minute. I can actually bring you the update to the Drivers' Championship standings. Tilo's crunched the numbers on his calculator, and Pauli, as you can see, has definitely won ahead of Ioni Katila. Ioni Katila does seal that second place, we believe, on countback. Sean Lee tied on points, but because of Ioni's the better finishes for Ioni will take that tiebreaker. But yeah, tied on points for P2. That's incredible. Then we've got Nika Pontola in P4. That's pending any penalties stemming from whatever happened in this race. Carolis will take P5. Sandro Chanturia, P6. That's great, considering where he was a few rounds ago. He's really, really climbed up the board. Daniel Ballot, P7. Eobel Hanuni, P8 for Born to Race. Then it's Michael Malek in P9. Oscar Hardwick will take P10 after a few rounds of absence. Jared Mead, P11. Good to see him in the top 12. Bozidar Velanov for World Class Lions makes the top 12. Gabor slips outside into P13. Yari Katila, P14. Renault Coots in P15. Isaac Price, P16. Patrick Kalinka, P17 after some great results and a good season for him overall, I think. Magic will finish in P18. Jürgen Weber, P19. Andre Araujo, P20. Timu Soini, P21. Jeff and Jacob, P22. Jeremiah Sinella, P23. And Prejmek Vadoviart in P24. The team's championship at the end of the day was won by a rather landslide 323 points. That gap came down quite considerably over the 2 races today. Because of Gabor, not finishing and not doing very well in the first race. So World Class Lions had a challenge on there, but ultimately it was Sidus who took the win there, not only in the drivers but also in the team's championship standings. We believe that Air Attack Newsroom Racing will have taken P3 in the team's championship away from Race Green, but we don't have the numbers for those just yet, so you'll have to get the formal confirmation of that later on the forum with the official results. Great news that we have some driver interviews, Eoin. Let's first of all talk to Race 1 winner Patrick Kalinka. Hi Patrick.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Patrick, talk us through race one. It looked like a pretty interesting race from your end. It was a comfortable victory in the end, but it must have been tense moments after that safety car late on in the race.
Yeah, it definitely was intense. I finally had a good pace through the whole race. I was previously struggling with tire heat, but I finally had a good set. So I'm happy I could finish in where I was since lap 1. Obviously, I was a bit worried about the Botsi. He was all over my back as we restarted the race. But yeah, I'm happy the race wasn't 1 lap longer. Not sure if I would be able to hold it.
In the end, you did have a comfortable lead, so yeah, we knew that your eyes would be facing firmly forward on that final lap, but Eoin was struggling a little bit on the last lap, we think. But yeah, a great way to convert a great qualifying into a great win. And yeah, as far as I know, yeah, that puts you on 2 wins in the season and a 2nd place. So that's a pretty good good result. How would you rate your season in terms of the results that you've had and maybe some potential improvements going forward?
So unfortunately, I had to skip first 2 rounds, so that compromised my overall result. But I really enjoyed the rounds I have been able to compete in. Also, this was my first victory. I only previously finished 2nd in Rockingham.
Okay.
But, yeah, I have really enjoyed this event and the season overall. And also, I would take the opportunity to say good job to Sim Broadcasts, to all of you commentating. It's really professional, something that Live for Speed really missed. So I'm happy to to have you here, and I hope it will bring more people to our community.
Well, thanks for your kind words. Thank you for providing the action. You know, we can't do it without having drivers on the track. So thanks for competing. It was great watching you this season. Hope to see you in another one. Thank you very much. Cheers. Patrick Kalinka there for Born to Race, and yeah, a great season for him. I'm sure he'll be happy with that, and yeah, going forward, hope to see some more good results from him. Joining us now in the commentary box is one of the Air Attack News and Racing contingent. Congrats, Sean.
Well, thank you. Wow, what a season it has been. I think coming over from the last race where I finished 23rd or something, it was a horrible outing, and I just focused on having a better race this time. Kurtz was really quick. I had to let him go, but I think it's a good haul of points for the team as well as Kurtz as well. I think we snatched P3 from race green, which was a good result.
Yeah, while you're talking, I'm just about to fire up the provisional team standings onto the stream for everybody. So while I'm doing that, why don't you talk us through this round? You've mentioned that you didn't have a great round last time, but yeah, talk us through especially that 2nd race and how you managed to get back past Pauli in the dying laps.
Yeah, so for the first race, it was kind of just damage limitation. I think I set the tires a bit too soft, so I was overheating and sliding around everywhere. Helped with Purple's moment where he turned upside down. That really helped with the tires. So coming to the 2nd race, I had more of a finish ahead of whoever I can finish, which was Tetea, Nico, and as well Sobis. Nico took himself out, I think, trying a dive bomb. Nearly got caught up in that as well. And from then on, it was Air Attack 1-2, and Kurtz had the pace. Let him go for the lead because I think we have a pact or something, but he did run away with the lead in the end. And the FXOs had the mid-race speed over us, and I got passed by both of them, I think, at one point, and came under fire from cars behind, and then slowly there was a battle in front. Cars started to battle, and somehow I found myself in P3 and chasing after Boxy. Yeah, and I'm guessing his tires went off or something, but I just learned from the previous race and took my time to not rush a move. And yeah, he did run wide a while, and I got a cutback on him, and yeah, got 2nd place. Really happy with that.
Yeah, and your second place did end up being pretty crucial because, as you said, yes, Air Attack Newsroom Racing did overtake Born to Race and Race Green. In fact, I think Air Attack overtook Race Green to finish P3 in the Teams Championship, so well done for that. And you did mention that in race 1 you had you're a little bit impatient maybe on some of your passes and especially the defensive move on Yoni Cotillo, which cost you a couple of places in the end. But yeah, you learnt from that, and in race 2 it was a great timed move. You're right, Botsy's front tyres did go off in the dying laps and you were able to make full use of it. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, and I think the crucial point was that I was running, I would say, mouse brake strength, which was quite low. So whenever I hit the brakes, the cars behind with stronger brakes just ran into the back of me. So when I was defending against Takeda, I didn't really take that into consideration. I slid across the track like a sponge. So yeah, that was a bit embarrassing, but I think all was good in the end.
Yeah, all was good, and a great result for you guys in the Teams Championship. I think if Renault had joined you earlier in the season, maybe you would have been real contenders for this championship. But yeah, a decent result in the end for your team, Air Attack Newsroom Racing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nova. That brings us to a close on the driver interview side of things. Thanks to everybody who joined us throughout the season for driver interviews. There's one more opportunity to do that in the TBO challenge because, of course, after today, it's not all over. You can still join us for the post-season endurance race happening live here on Sunday, the 20th of December from 2:30 in the PM. That'll be at Aston North. Sign-ups for this are open on the Live for Speed forum. And you can sign up with a team or as a solo driver. You don't have to have been a member of the sign-ups for the main season. So if you fancy now maybe driving some TBOs for 6 hours with some friends or on your own, you can do that on the Live for Speed forum. We hope to see you then on Sunday the 20th of December from 2:30. Oh, and that should be a good one. Aston North famously has such a vast variation of different types of corners, and it's sure to throw some challenges to even our experienced TBO drivers here.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree with that, Pete. The matter of fact is the 30-minute and 45-minute action-packed thrills and spills, it won't be quite the same as the drivers have to keep going and going for 6 hours, either, as you said, non-stop on their own or in the team effort. That's going to be a real challenge. So we'll hope everybody who takes on the epic challenge will come out the other side and achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah, we can't wait. We haven't hosted an endurance race on Sim Broadcasts for quite a while. Thanks for NDR for inviting us along to do the broadcast for that. Should be a fun one. We hope to see you there. Meanwhile, next weekend we have our MRC Master Race Car double header weekend starting on Saturday the 12th of December with Master Race Cars E-Challenge. Sign-ups for that are still open on the Live for Speed forum. So for your chance to drive in an under-fueled Formula E inspired race around the New York E-Prix track, please go ahead and sign up for that. It's going to be a great race. It's very unique, and it'll be the first time we've covered a race like that, I think. Comparable, I suppose, to the Layout Racing League, but yeah, definitely a unique event, and we hope to see you there for that on Saturday. On Sunday, it's the return of the Master Race Car BF1 League from 2:15 UTC. Round 2 from Kyoto Ring GP Long, brought to you by Travis Mellinger and Adam Brown on commentary. Thanks to MRC for inviting us along to cover that series. It's been excellent so far. 1 of 5 races gone. This will be round 2, and yeah, join us next weekend for the Master Race Car double header weekend. So I think we're just about to come to a close here for this evening, and all that's left to say really is thank you, Eoin, for joining me each week for the commentary of this season. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been excellent. I've had a great time. Thank you for inviting me.
No, you're very welcome. I hope you can join us for the post-season endurance in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Thank you very much to New Dimension Racing, to Jonathan Palmer, to Tila Falkenberg, and to Jonathan Provost, and all the rest of the NDR team for hosting this event and providing us with some excellent entertainment on our Sunday evenings. We know there's an F1 race about to kick off, so we'll disappear, and we hope you have a great week. And we're looking forward to next weekend's action. It should be awesome. So, for everyone here at Sim Broadcast, I've been Peter Butcher. I've been joined by Eoin Harmon. Thanks to Tilo Falkenberg for being very, very busy this evening on the calculator. We really appreciate that, giving us those graphics and standings as we've gone through. So, from all of us here, have a great evening. Good night.